Hey friends, let's look at February 2026. So, February is a big month for us. We have eclipses, we have retrogrades, we have the Saturn Neptune conjunction also happening in February, and we have Valentine's Day for those of you guys who celebrate. So, the big eclipse coming in is going to be February 17th. It is in Aquarius, so all Aquarians prepare yourselves. But also Leos, Taurus, Scorpio, prepare yourselves as well. We'll get into that. Let's just start with the first week of February. So we have Sunday, February 1st. We have a full moon right off the bat. So Sunday, February 1st, our full moon is at 13 degrees of Leo. So all you Leos, you're going to be affected the most by this particular full moon. It's especially going to affect those Leos born between August 4th through August 8th. Who else it will affect a lot as well is Taurus and Scorpio. Excuse me. And it might be a little bit challenging for Taurus and Scorpio, especially those Taurus born between May 2nd and May 6th, and especially those Scorpios born between October 5th and October 9th. So just prepare yourselves. Full moon in Leo, there's a lot to look at. It's a loud full moon as opposed to a more introverted sign. So we're going to be looking at our creativity. We're going to be looking at our love life. We're going to be looking at our idea of romance or how we romance our own lives. Leo is the sign of love and romance. It rules the heart, and they tend to have really grand gestures of the expression of love and romance. But really, a full moon in Leo, it's about your own self-expression. What are you pulling up to the forefront in the way of your passion projects, your creativity? And I also have a little puppy here who's going to get in the video as well. Um, it really is about your creativity, your passion projects, and also your heart energy. Are you in joy? Are you leading with your heart? Are you letting your heart saturate big parts of your life, of your days, right? Leo is really born to lead with the heart because they are so generous and they are so warm when they're happy. But it's a big full moon. It's going to land at 13 degrees of Leo. So, how to use this to your benefit? Look to see where 13 degrees of Leo lands in your own chart. And then that house that it's in, those topics of that house are going to get affected by this particular full moon. Then we have Monday, February 2nd, and here we have a couple things going on. It could be a little bit of a harder day. We have the moon opposite Mercury. This is happening at 5:55 a.m. And when the moon is opposing Mercury, Mercury's over in Aquarius, the moon is still in Leo. She still looks really full in the sky. This is a hard time with communication. This is a hard time with communication where the heart and the head are literally on opposite pages. The moon is opposite Mercury. The heart is opposite the head. And so early in the morning, the first part of the day, if we could save important decisions, important conversations, important emails you have to send for the second half of the day, that would probably be smartest. Or really pause and try to combine the head and the heart to form a cohesive sentence to express what you want to say. But it will be a little bit trickier because the head is going to be telling you one thing Monday morning and the heart will be telling you another thing. Now, later in the day, that moon is also going to square Uranus. Uranus is over in Taurus. This happens at 2:55 p.m. And when the heart is receiving an electric shock from Uranus, which is what that can feel like. It brings in excitement, sure, excitement, unexpected news. It brings in this desire for emotional freedom. Don't box me in emotionally. Don't tell me how I feel. But it also, because it's a square, it could create a little bit of an emotional roller coaster or emotional destabilization. So something to watch for. Doing your grounding practices on Monday would be super useful and super helpful. Then we have Tuesday, February 3rd, and we have the moon in stabilizing Virgo all day long. This can feel really good in the way of bringing some stability after this big full moon in Leo this last weekend, and also after sort of a tricky day in the way of communication and emotions yesterday on Monday. When the moon is in Virgo, we are more apt to set order in our day. So Tuesday is a great day for looking around you and creating really solid systems, structures, formats, because this is a day where we want things to run smoothly, but we also have the capacity to see what needs to be done in order for them to run smoothly. It's like if you try to go on a diet when Jupiter is really large in your chart, it's going to be hard. But if you try to go on a diet when Saturn's really large in your chart, it's going to be easy. So today is a day where organizing things and sort of creating structure for your day-to-day rhythms is going to come a lot easier than if you were to try to do it maybe during the full moon, right? Unless that full moon is in your sixth house. So a day in Virgo, we want to also check in with our physical body and ask ourselves, how do I feel today? What is my relationship to my physical self? It's a great day for exercise, yoga, working out, clean eating. It's a great day to like clean out the refrigerator and fill it with like a lot of good healthy food. We're more apt to pay attention to that stuff. And when we work with the rhythm of the moon, our life just flows a little bit smoother because it is a day for decluttering. It is a day to clean out the refrigerator. It is a day to clean your car. And it's a day to get all your ducks in a row. Okay. And we feel grounded and checking in with our body as well. Then we have Wednesday, February 4th. This can be a very healing day today. So, what we have going on is Venus is creating a sextile to Chiron. Here's my puppy again. She heard Virgo. She's a Virgo. We have Venus sextile Chiron. So Venus is over in Aquarius, and Chiron is still in Aries. It feels like he has been there for a million years. He's still there. This is going to happen midday at 2:23 p.m. Pacific time. A sextile is helpful. It's very supportive. Venus is being affected, so it's our relationships. It's our relationship to love. It's our partnerships, but it's also self-love and the way that we do self-care and take care of ourselves. So when Venus receives a sextile from Chiron today, Wednesday, February 4th, it's a day where we can look at the wound, the story, the old habit, the old pattern around our relationships and call in a lot of healing in that way. The wound comes up, right? But it's a sextile, so it'll be a gentle surfacing of the wound, and then we have the ability to really sort of dip that wound in love, if you will. Our hearts are softer, our hearts are more open and forgiving today. If you have tension or fighting within a partnership, today's a really beautiful day, Wednesday, February 4th, to smooth things over. We find a lot of forgiveness. And it's just a day where we want to buy ourselves flowers, draw a bubble bath, write yourself a love letter, or to someone else, right? But it is a very, very healing day when it comes to love connection, heart connection, and relationships. We have Thursday, February 5th. This is an easy day. Thank you, Cosmos. Thank you, Universe. Today is an easy day. The moon is receiving a lot of support today. So the moon is receiving support from Pluto in a trine at 8:45 a.m. So the first part of the day, there is an ability for depth, for touching in on something very important. We are searching for emotional meaning, and it comes to us a lot easier today. The moon is in Libra, and Pluto is over in Aquarius. And this is a very airy sky. Those are two air signs. And Pluto says, let's go a little bit deeper. Let's get a little bit more personal. Let's make things intense, and intensity works for us today. It's also an ability when the moon trines Pluto, how to really find your own personal power in the way of your feelings and your private life. We are not so much we're not so much ready to give our power away under the sky, but we're ready to claim it back, to have a very healing relationship with our own personal power, and in a sense revitalize that for us. And we don't want to do anything on the surface today. Even though it's an airy sky, there's a lot of air signs and they tend to sort of skate on the surface. Pluto says, let's take all those thoughts and all those conversations and create meaning with them and depth with them. Okay. This evening, not until 10 p.m. today, that moon is then receiving support from Mars. The moon in Libra and Mars is over in Aquarius. And so later in the evening, we can feel this building. There's again this desire for emotional contact. Mars wants to bump up against something and feel something intensely. And in a nice, happy trine, that bumping up against something feels good. It feels like it works. So, big feelings, big emotional expression, but it's also very charismatic. It's colorful. It's passionate. We want the passion today. The deeper we can connect with something or someone in our lives, the more passionate, the more intense, the more meaningful. Today, February 5th, Thursday, that's what this day is built for. Moving into Friday, February 6th, today is a happy day. Anytime the sun and the moon and the sky are getting along, which they are today, us humans here on Earth, we feel that and things have a smoother rhythm. So the sun in Aquarius is trining the moon in Libra today. And it's as though the masculine and the feminine get along. Mom and dad are getting along. It's where things flow easier. And our own internal masculine and feminine, they can find equilibrium. So we're working from this happy medium rather than all on one side or the extreme of the other. This is a day where we make it on time. We have a smoother work day. Our relationships tend to flow a little bit easier. Our inner world matches our outer world, and we like it. It works. We also have Mercury moving into Pisces today at 2:48 p.m. Pacific. So I don't know how I feel about Mercury and Pisces. It can be a tricky placement. So the mind, Mercury, which likes to be crystal clear, which likes to be sharp and direct, is moving into the foggy, wishy-washy, creative sign of Pisces. Here's the good news. Mercury in Pisces, this is for the dreamers, the artists, the musicians, the poets, the people who write song lyrics, the people who compose music. It is extremely creative. It is very fantasy oriented. We can come up with the most extraordinary story. We can write the most amazing fantasy novel. We could create music by closing our eyes and moving into our internal world. But as far as clear, straight, direct expression, mm-mm. Mercury in Pisces isn't necessarily built for speaking out loud. Mercury in Pisces is built for inner dialogue. That's where you really shine. Mercury in Pisces could be it could be a little bit confusing, a little bit cloudy. We feel the thing we want to say, but as far as expressing it, it might not make sense to other people. Mercury, and if you have this placement, you're living under your sky and things feel really good. But if you don't have this placement and you're trying to do tangible earthly stuff, it's a little bit hard. Now we move into the weekend. We have Saturday, February 7th, and this is an intense day. There's some intensity coming in because the moon moves into Scorpio at 11:13 a.m. Pacific time. Moon in Scorpio, it's built for the water signs. It's built for those that love to see what's sort of brewing below the surface, that love the angst and the intensity of emotion. But that's not all. Then, after the moon is in Scorpio, it's going to be receiving a square from Pluto at 7 p.m. tonight Pacific. That square from Pluto intensifies things, and now, because it's a square, the intensity can feel a little bit too intense. So the shadow side of this is that we can feel like we're drowning in emotion. There could be emotional power plays or control issues coming up as well, that we sort of have to maneuver throughout our day with. But it is a real recognition of the meaningful connections in life, how to not hold power over other people, how to not give your own power away. It's the recognition of those Plutonian emotions, which can be jealousy, envy, manipulation. When those rise up, how do we hold those, acknowledge those, and ultimately heal those, transform those in some way? It's an extremely transformative day, but we have to have the awareness We have to have the mindfulness of how to work with the intensity today. And so water moon, and then Pluto comes in and just amps up the intensity. And some people love it. Some people thrive under this sky. This is really, it feels really good for a Scorpio, or if you have a lot of Scorpio placements, simply because this is how your inner world works and the outer world is being reflected of that. It can also feel really good for if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart, or even Cancer in your chart, you can vibe with this energy. And the fire signs and the air signs are a little bit like, "Oh, what is happening today?" But if we embrace that intensity and let it sort of move through us, and again, the highest calling of this is for transformation, for the awareness of the dark, for the awareness of the sticky emotion, and how to hold that and soothe that and heal that. Okay, we are going to move into Sunday, February 8th here in the next video.